Before watching today's video, I'd highly recommend going back and checking out my road trip breakdown from Southern Oregon and Northern California. There, I talk about how all of the footage I captured on an SD card was lost except for one single spot, and that's Cape Perpetua. This is hands down my favorite place I've been to on the Oregon coast. On this same trip, we got to visit Samuel Boardman State Scenic Corridor, Cape Sebastian, and the Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area. And while I enjoy all of those, let me be honest and say that Cape Perpetua is by far the most memorable for me. So if you can only choose to visit one location on the Oregon coast, make it this one, and allow me to show you why in this video. Cape Perpetua is located in the central portion of the coast to the far west of the Ciesla National Forest. It may be weird to think of this as national forest land, but it actually makes sense because one of Cape Perpetua's defining characteristics is that there's basically forest hitting the coastline. It's amazingly lush and some of the trees are windswept, which looks really cool. But easily the most impressive thing about Cape Perpetua is all of its super unique coastal features. First, I want to run down the list of the most iconic ones, but also highlight some things I specifically found interesting and maybe some other coastal features that people miss. Devil's Churn is a long crack in the coastal rock that fills with each ocean wave, occasionally exploding as incoming and outgoing waves collide. Spouting Horn is an ocean geyser driven by the power of the ocean tide. Think a smaller blowhole, of which there are only 3 official blowholes located around the world. I've seen 2 of the 3 in Hawaii and Mexico, and definitely Spouting Horn feels like a miniature version. Once the wave clears Spouting Horn, it continues into Cook's Chasm, which is similar to Devil's Churn, except this one explodes at the end pretty much every time. Because of the sheer amount of things happening in one spot, with Spouting Horn and Cook's Chasm visible all at once, it's by far where we spend the most amount of time at. Honestly, I could watch it all day because not only is it so satisfying to watch, but each explosion is gonna look a little different from the next. You'll get more water shooting up out of both if you visit within an hour before or after high tide. We did just that and couldn't believe how aggressive the waves and corresponding water features were. Perhaps the most famous feature at Cape Perpetua is Thor's Well, which I think is ironic because it's by far the most difficult to view. You can't get all too close to it if you visit during high tide, so the only option for us was to view it from afar. Still, it's really cool and almost trippy how the water sinks downwards before spouting water up the well. Those are the 4 most well-known features here, so now that they're introduced, I'd like to talk about my experience at Cape Perpetua. I first visited this place in 2022 and was blown away by how incredible it was. But I knew I had to return one day when the tide was absolutely perfect. This was that visit, and I couldn't have been happier with the results. As I mentioned, we spent most of our time sitting alongside Cook's Chasm and Spouting Horn, seeing just how big the explosions got. What's amazing about this place is there's a bunch of other churns and chasms you can explore that don't even have names. If you walk to the right of Cook's Chasm, Spouting Horn, and Thor's Well, you'll meet with a variety of differently sized chasms and churns. I like how there's 3 right next to each other here and how close you can get to them. That said, the amount of water that's thrown into the air can be random and dangerous. My brother did take one for the team and got soaked on video for you guys. I found these skinny churns and chasms to be quite impressive as well. Oftentimes the small size fools you, and these can have some of the largest explosions. Separate from all of these water features, the aforementioned Devil's Churn requires an easy 1.5 mile out and back trail to access. Along the way, you'll walk through some stunning coastal forestry, and occasionally a view of the waves crashing against the coastline will become clear. I like how Devil's Churn has its own secluded section at Cape Perpetua because it's absolutely an awesome water feature. It's easily the largest of the churns, even going further back from what you see here. It narrows in all the way until it hits a rock wall, and it is so cool watching the water rush through it. Anyway, here's a video compilation of all the spare clips I haven't used yet in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Travel Dash so you don't miss any content in the future, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys.